evening, everybody, and how are we all doing today? It is a Sunday night back in the podding shed. Pretty cold, weather's certainly changed, but well, you know what, we got to make the most of. So, coming up a little bit later on, I'm going to be going through, well, let's see what you got in your Christmas tree this year. But before that, to over this last week, bit of a story coming up about that. Let's see if anybody is actually out there. And yes, I can see. So we got waiting. Good evening to you. Oh, cool. Veg Grower Army. Good evening to you. Who else have we got? Turbo. From a snow-covered and wintry Birmingham. Hello to you. Evening to you. Hope you are well. Let's see. Robert, evening to you. He said he'll be happy with a high from Santa. You, good evening. Hope you are well. What else have we got? Hi today. Hope you've all kept warm whilst out tending the crops. Good evening to you, and evening everyone, and the Veg Grower Army. Hope everyone is well. Good evening to you, Sean O'Brien. Good evening to you. Hope you are well. Peacock, sound is really bad. Very bad sound tonight. Oh, right. Tell me, right. So I'm speaking. Let's have a look. Okay, I know what I'll do. So bear with me 1 second and I'll change on to... So hopefully, does that sound any better? Let me know in the comments, please. Good evening. The sound is a bit off. Yes, you're breaking up, Richard. Okay, sound is awful. Yep. Sound breaking up. That's better. Hang on. Yeah, Margaret Peacock is saying that's better. Fantastic. Sorry about that. One thing I do hate is poor audio, and I was trying to adjust everything and get everything onto a different setup this week. God knows. Anyway, that's by the by. What else? Have I missed anybody out? Have I said somebody in the Facebook group? Good evening to you. Sound better now. If you are in the Facebook group, unfortunately, I won't see who you are necessarily. So please do just let us know who you are. You also may not see any comments. Sound better but quiet. Okay, I will adjust the volume up in a little second. Let me turn that off. Sound better but quiet. That's turned on to the maximum there. So sound issues. It's always the problem with this live stream setup is getting good sound. So what have I been up to over this last week? Don't forget to let us know what you've been up to in the comments as below as well. Let me get rid of that comment. So I've been off work this week, I'm afraid to say, due to illness. Wasn't sure if we had COVID at one point. Luckily, I didn't. But it meant that you may hear it throughout the night, actually. I've got this nasty cough. If I end up coughing, I do apologise. So while I've had some time off work, I haven't been to the allotment this week because I thought best not to go anywhere just in case I make anybody ill or anything. So I spent some time at home, just doing a bit of general tidying up when I can, cleaning up pots, washing out pots, that sort of thing, and potting on some seeds. Talking of seeds, the chili seeds that we sown 2 weeks ago on this live show, I was looking at them earlier today. They aren't quite showing any signs just yet, but I can just see some very, very early signs that they are starting to germinate. So we are on the way with those. Too small for the camera to pick up, but I think next week we'll see a bit more about that. What else have I been up to? Yesterday, the storm. I haven't been down the allotment to see if we have any damage. Excuse me, any damage down on the allotment. But at home, we had no damage. That I do know. But it was too cold, too wet, too windy to go outside. So I ended up making chili jam in my kitchen. Video coming up for that a little bit later, as promised. Then today, again, I haven't been down the allotment, but I have one of my little chickens. She started molting a couple of weeks ago, losing all her feathers, and the new ones have started to grow through. But I checked on them today. Obviously, with bird flu going around, it's under quite strict restrictions at the moment. But I checked on her, and she is not in a very healthy state at all. She looks very unwell. So Papa Don, my little white chicken, you may see sometimes, I've actually had to pull her into Roxy's small dog crate and pull her into indoors in the house to keep her warm. I think she's a bit cold, in all honesty. Fingers crossed she's going to be okay, but it leaves Bear outside on her own. Definitely going to get some more chickens soon. So that kind of sums up what I've been up to over this last week. Not very much, as you can tell. What have you been up to? Let us know in the comments. So, Rebecca Hawkins has joined. Is it me or is it freezing? No, it is very, very cold. I do agree with that. Ernie, evening Richard. Hope you're well in this cold period we're having. Difficult to do gardening as it's dark when I finish. I think it's finish work, should be saying there from Ernie. I agree. It is too dark when I finish work, when I should finish work to do anything. So I have to save it for the weekend. Although, advantage of having this shed, I've got plenty of lights in this shed, so I can actually do a few bits out in here. Turbo Stream, I haven't done any gardening at all. The ground is frozen after all the snow and frosts. Actually, yeah, our ground is frozen. I've noticed that as well. Unfortunately, it's just something we have to put up with, isn't it, until it thaws out, which it will, really will soon, I suspect. My chili seeds are sowing from Stuart Jackson. Fantastic. The last couple of days. Yeah, I think they're a little bit slow, but that's to be expected. Ian Meadows is saying it's not raining for once, but heavy snow. I do wish we had snow here. We don't. Steve has been sorting the beds in the garden, pulling up parsnips and swede. Fantastic. Ernie has finished off that comment. Finished work, weekends are is it the same for you? Yes. Weekends are the only time I get to do gardening at this time of year. But luckily, because I have set this shed up so I can come out here, I've got lights. I do a bit in here. I've even got heat, which I turned off earlier just in case it caused sound issues, which I've got to figure out what's going on with this sound. What else have we got? Stuart Jackson has my photos in the group, which we'll come to in a little bit later on. He's been potting on peas and broad beans plus coriander. Lots going on there. And Anna Jones been clearing up the mess after Storm Arwen. Had a real battering up here in the northeast. I'm very sorry to hear that. I've been quite lucky down here on the south coast, in all honesty. It was strong winds, don't get me wrong, but as far as I'm aware, we've not had any damage that I know of. I've yet to see the allotment to find out what's going on there, but as soon as I know anything, I'll let you know. But if you have suffered any damage, let us know in the comments what damage you have suffered over this last week with this Storm Arwen. It does seem to be quite a bad storm that seems to have come through. I have to admit, it does seem very, very bad. A few more comments coming in. Instead, I am slowly eating the beetroot up along with parsnips from the plot. Fantastic. Beetroot always so tasty. Ballycilia, going around my plot, dumping all the rubbish I have kept in case it comes in handy, but it's always in the road. Unlock your iPhone first. Do I? But in case it comes in handy, but it's always on the road and was creating a slug heaven and trip hazard. This is something that my wife and I have been discussing at great length. We've got a lot of crap that we hold on to because we think it'll come in handy. And it just takes up space and gets in the way. So we've decided we're having a big clear out for that very reason. If we need something, we'll find it when we need it and see what happens. Whatever. Digwell, no smoke to speak of, but one heck of a storm. 2 sheets of polycarb bopped out the greenhouse to glue them back in tomorrow. Oh, very sorry to hear that. Beatrice, good evening to you. Hope you are well. Digwell, bad storm. Can't remember the last time there was a red warning from the Met Office. Yeah, I mean, we were lucky here. We were lucky where I live. We didn't get it too bad compared to the storm we had a couple of years ago when my greenhouse got completely trashed. Now, I did see a comment from Oracle. Hi, Stuart. Did you ever get the video of the greenhouse done? Well, in fact, he has done it. And I've got this video right here to show you all.
Evening all. On last Sunday's show, Richard was talking about insulating the greenhouse, or somebody rang in about it. I think it was Rebecca. This is what I've done. So you've got this clip like that on the back, and then that looks like that on the front, and all that does is slide onto the metalwork on the side of the greenhouse, and then down the runners, like between the glass, is you've got the same sort of thing, but it's black, and then that little wrist, this there, you just push on. So, and you do that on each runner. You do 3 on each runner. So if I give you a little tour, I apologise for the untidy greenhouse, but the only other thing I would say is leave some air space. Don't do it too tight. And then I've done the side panel. The only one I've left is this one here that opens on the thermostat. So it does keep it very warm. It's been a cold day today, and it's 46.4, and it's 4:15 in the afternoon. So, you know, my ball beans need to go out. As you can see, they're getting a bit big. And then I've got lupins, peas, and coriander. Yeah, hope that was helpful. Speak to you all very soon.
Got to say, I've never seen that idea before of how to connect up bubble wrap to your greenhouse. Like it though, seems nice and simple, nice and tidy. Something I'm definitely going to be looking into and try and get hold of some of those. I think I've said time and time again, not to brag, we don't really get bad weather here, but or that cold weather here, but at the moment I think every little helps. It's freezing in here tonight, absolutely freezing in here. Something I've got to do is insulate these walls again in the ceiling when I redo all this woodwork. So yeah, thank you very much, Stuart. That really was useful and answered the question. Has the sound improved, by the way, everyone? While that was going, I just quickly upped the sound a bit. So hopefully I'm coming through a bit louder. Let us know in the comments. Talking of the comments. Turbo Stream, the only guy-related activity was to treat the moss on my garage roof with soda crystals. A non-toxic alternative to chemicals. It does work too. Fantastic. Never thought of doing that. So I don't mind I don't mind moss too much, but it's interesting to hear that. Lots of fences down up here, and most greenhouses on site have lost grass. The felt ripped off my sheds, so we'll have to check out how to replace it. How annoying. How absolutely annoying. Excuse me. Yeah, these storms are horrible. I think we're quite lucky we don't get them that often. But when they do come through and they cause us damage, especially if you've got an allotment, I think allotments tend to suffer really badly when storms come through. Greenhouses lose their glass, shed ripped, but at the end of the day, it could be a lot worse. And I'm saying this because at least none of us out here have lost our lives, unlike some people, unfortunately. I had a sheet of glass slid out of a greenhouse. Fortunately, I removed it before it smashed. Yeah, I remembered like a couple of years ago when we had a bad storm come through here, and it was the first year at Granddad's greenhouse. Pretty much every panel on that greenhouse smashed from the storm. Cost me nearly 200 quid to replace the glass. Brilliant idea. Thanks for that, Stuart. What a brilliant idea. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant, Stuart. Some clown pot a golf ball through my greenhouse window. Oh, if it's not a storm, it's a golf ball. How annoying. I'm in front of my burner, so sending some virtual heat to Littlehampton. Thank you. Could do with that right now. I will try to put a link in the group, but I got my clips from the garden centre. Bubble wrap and clips cost me about £20 in total. Moss is okay in the woodland, but not so good on my flat roof. I agree. So today I wanted to talk about or get some ideas of what people would like to find underneath their Christmas tree. Garden related gifts, that is. And I thought long and hard about things I would like to find or I would recommend as well. But I thought what's going to be best actually is to find out from you guys what particular items that you've seen out on the market at the moment you would like to find under your Christmas tree. I'm not promising Santa's going to have it arrive for you or anything, but just thought it might be better to find out what sort of thing you guys are looking for. Now, I think where we start at the moment is probably best. Is the sound okay, guys? Is the sound okay? But what I thought the best place to start with is the high value items. These are things that I'm going to say cost over £100. I think that's a fair price, and things like that I would recommend myself. So straight off the top is of course the veggie pod. I've spoken at length about the veggie pod. Love my veggie pod. I've got a medium one, fantastic piece of kit, and it is brilliant for growing. So that is top of my list for the veggie pod. Following on from that would be the sub pod, the subterranean garden, the subterranean compost system that I've installed. I've had it a year now actually, and it is again a fantastic piece of kit, over £100, but I think it's an ideal thing that gardeners might be looking for. So these are the high value, the main present gift ideas that I had off the top of my head at the moment. Then there's one other thing that I would like that I don't have, and that is a heated propagator with the lights in it, or grow lights already built into it. I think they're about £150 from Greenhouse Sensation. It's something I really do like the look of, something that possibly would be beneficial in here. Again, I'm just going through lists of things that I might like. But what about you? What would you guys like to see? So Philly SPB, I had to stop using the metal clips and started using wood instead. I will send you a picture of my idea next week. Not lost a sheet from it. What's that? I may have missed. Is this from your greenhouse? I'm guessing so. My best present from last year was a subscription to Gardener's World magazine. There you go. That's a great idea. I should be writing these down. Subscription to Gardener's World subscription. I'm writing that down. Sound is fine. Sound is fine. Fantastic. That's good to hear. The sound is fine. I would like a long-handled trowel. Long-handled trowel. Great idea. Like the one Monty uses. Or a timer for my veggie pods, so when I go away, it will water itself. Great ideas. I've got to admit, I'm always worried about using a timer just in case it leaks, but that's me entirely. But a long-handled trowel is a great idea. I used to have one. I may still have one in my garage somewhere, but I'll have a look out for you, Stuart. Not very exciting, but I like vouchers that I can spend. Vouchers, that's a good one. I can spend on the allotment when I require something. That's a very good idea, actually. Garden centres often sell their vouchers off, and I think they are great for Christmas. I don't desire any new items for Christmas. I want to get the hang of growing stuff first. Yeah, I mean, but there's ideas for that, seeds or the vouchers that you can go buy plants when you need them. Let's see what else. Ian Beddoes, I'd like a gardener to do all the hard work whilst I do the watering. That's not gardening, Ian. That is not gardening. But I like your style. I've also asked for a Veg Grower Army sweatshirt for Christmas. Yes, on our website we have Veg Grower with the normal logo on mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, etc., etc. We've got a Veg Grower Army, which is for you guys, mugs, t-shirts, and I can get some jumpers and stuff done if I haven't done them as well. And from December, talking of that, that brings in quite nicely, we have the Christmas logo that goes up as well. I only sell these ones during December, and purely because it is the Christmas logo. What else? For heated propagator with lights, I can recommend the Vito pod from Greenhouse Sensation. I have 2. Yeah, that's exactly what I would like. I just know they're not exactly cheap items, but I think they would work a lot better in my shed than what I have. Sue, who is joining us in the Facebook group. Hello, Sue. Some decent labels and marker pen stays on. Decent labels and marker pen. So I'm going to throw out my top tip for that. Don't use a marker pen. Use a pencil. Have I got any? Yeah. I just get these standard white labels. They sell them in Poundland or even Wilkinson's. I thought I'd buy them at the end of the season just when they're going out of, and they're generally sold off cheap. And I just use a pencil, and it doesn't wash off, doesn't get blasted off in the sun. The pencil marks stay on there, and when you do finish using it, you just use the rubber to get rid of it. So there you go, Sue. Hopefully that is a bit more useful for you. I fully admit that Christmas is not my thing. I'm with you on that. Christmas isn't my thing either, but it is content at the end of the day. I only water my veggie pod 2 or 3 times a year. It lasts for 4 to 6 weeks at a time. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, I water mine a bit more regularly, but they do last quite a while. I also fancy trying one of these seed advent calendars. They just seem so expensive. I've seen those, actually, and I thought the same. They seem expensive, and they seem a bit of a novelty. I'm going to write that on the list, though. The trouble is with seed advent calendars is they're not really for under the Christmas tree. You need them from the beginning of December. But I'm with you. I think they are a bit expensive, but they're a bit of a novelty item at the same time. I use a laundry pen. It seems to work just as well as a pencil. There you go, laundry pen for Sue. What else have we got? I second use of pencil and labels. Fantastic. I would like to try a 4-wheeled garden cart, sick of my wheelbarrow toppling over on its side. That's a very good point, actually. Wheelbarrows are so unbalanced and difficult to handle. On the subject of wheelbarrows, I'm trying to see if I've got some. If you ever see my wheelbarrow I have on the allotment, you'll see I've got some cantilever handles, which sort of, as you lift them up, the handle sort of moves in like a motion like that, which are very, very good. They're called I-tip handles. I have got another set in here somewhere. I'm just trying to see if I can see them. But they are fantastic. If you do have a wheelbarrow, they do make life a bit easier. That's another gift item that you might want to find underneath your Christmas tree. I-tip handles. Margaret Peacock is saying, have you seen the Christmas cards that are permeated with seeds? I have seen those. I have very much seen those seeds, all those Christmas cards. I did. You can actually buy paper, so because I was looking at making my own cards or when I do my newsletters and stuff, using that paper, but it's very expensive, very expensive. And somebody once gave me a business card with those seeds as well, but I've been always too scared to sow those seeds because I like the actual card itself. Adrian, best to get things after Christmas in a sales. Christmas is just a rip-off. I agree. I do. I sound very pessimistic there. I'm not a Christmas lover, but I do agree it's a bit of a rip-off. But at the same time, getting things cheap is good. My complaint, I think garden centres could be doing a lot more of Christmas garden products, but they tend to get all the tat in. Whereas come January, when all the new products, new lines start to appear, there's a great stuff, which is where vouchers could come into play quite nicely. I have a four-wheeled wheelbarrow. They are great, but about double the price. I did actually see a really big wheelbarrow a few times at some of the events I go to that has like different buckets inside the wheelbarrow for different things. Quite a nice big size. I think it had two-wheeled options as well. Might be better than four, having two wheels. The only trouble with that, it was the price. They were very, very expensive in my opinion for what it was, just simply a wheelbarrow. And I wouldn't want to leave, I think they were about £250 for these big wheelbarrows, which I wouldn't want to leave a £250 wheelbarrow on my allotment. Last year I was given a Wilco voucher, which I spent on chicken manure, so a tub of pellets will be nice under my 3-foot Christmas tree. Chicken pellet manure. That's a great idea. Chicken manure pellets. Good idea. I also think it would be nice if someone brought you all your allotment fees. Yes, it would be nice. I've had my invoice come through for my allotment fees the other day, which I've paid. Just under £80 for both of my plots for the next year. I don't know how much everybody else pays. But yeah, £80 for 2 half plots for a year. I don't think it's bad. It's £40 each. Muddy Boots, good evening to you. Hope you are well. Looking at Digwell's comments, Greenhouse Sensation currently have 10% discount and free delivery. That's for the Vipod. If I remember correctly, the Vitapod I'm looking at was about £150. So that would be £15 off. That sounds good. I've took advantage of that, Nigel, from Ballycillian. So fantastic. Fantastic to hear that. So, talking of Christmas gift ideas, I have had a lovely video sent to me of something that you might want to get for yourself. Now, this is intended for another show, so you may see this video again another time. But it seems to fit quite nicely within tonight's show.
Good evening, Richard. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well. Rebecca here. Just wanted to show you my seed storage. So a couple of years ago, I got this as a Christmas present, and it's honestly been one of the best things I've had. My seeds were a mess. They were completely all over the place. I have so many, too many, but don't we all? And my other half bought me this for Christmas to try and organise me, and it's been brilliant. So on the top, it's got this lovely little design, and it's a really good size wooden box. I don't know if you can see. Let me show you inside. So inside it comes with plenty of space for all your seeds. You've got these little dividers that you can buy. I think you can buy them extra, I'm not sure. I never have because it came with these. But it's got salad crops, flowers, tomatoes and miscellaneous in there. Obviously I've got all my seeds from Richard, which are brilliant, still in there, but it really helps me keep all my seeds really organised. Yeah, so that's my seed storage.
There we go. There we go. That slight delay there. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, what a great little box that is. Some of you may remember, and I'll get it out next week actually because it's not in here. I made myself a similar box for all my seeds, although I think I need several of those boxes now to fill them up. But I liked the design of that and the little pattern on the top and the personalisation of it. I thought that was a beautiful looking box. All the seed dividers I really like as well. A lovely little box. I thought that was a great idea, great Christmas present that people might want underneath their tree. By the way, the phone line is open if you want to call in. 07307 135 174. Number is running across the bottom of the screen. If you want to zap yourself in, the link is going up in the chat right now. Just click on the link and you will appear on screen with myself. At this point, I better also just ask you, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe, follow, click the notification bell to get notified every time we go live. Got to say that, otherwise I get told off by Facebook and YouTube. So, what's going on in the comments? Turbo Stream, looking at Stuart's video on the greenhouse, could you use clothes pegs to hold the bubble wrap up? Give it a try, Turbo Stream. If you've got a greenhouse, give it a try and let us know. It could work. Find out. Oracle would be happy with a kiss under the mistletoe. I'm not going to offer because I don't think it will quite be the same with me with this scruffy beard. Some Ryobi cordless tools are reduced and you get a free gift if you spend over £100. I got an extra battery, so bought myself a couple of Christmas presents. Yes, everybody knows I'm a big fan of the Ryobi cordless tool range. I have had the email saying they have got some brilliant little discounts going on. I've got the chainsaw, the strimmer, the lawnmower, the hedge trimmer. I think that's, I've got the drill, little hoover, and an angle grinder and various other tools as well. But in terms of garden tools, I think they are brilliant, I've got to say. Let's add that Ryobi cordless tools. Annie Jones is saying that box looks great. I agree, it does look great. Lovely seed box. I use old washing up tab boxes from Aldi. Old washing tub boxes, I think that is. Yeah, I do like that seed box. I do like that seed box. I will bring mine in. I think next week we're doing about how you store your seeds. So next week I will bring that in as well and show you my seed box. Don't know why you call them garden centres, Richard. Edinburgh Wall, Pot Puree, candles, Christmas decorations galore, pet shop. Oh, there's a houseplant in the far corner. Yes. I agree. I totally agree. I'm not going to get on that rant because I get in trouble when I go on my rant about greenhouse garden centres for that very same reason. Bill and Val's allotment. Hello to you. Hope you were well. That's a very neat seed box. I'd like one of those. Yeah, Rebecca, where did you get that seed box from? Or was it a present? I know somebody that has an etcher that can etch those things into boxes, which is something I was looking at buying as well in the future. Thumbs up on the way out. Yes, I did that first, but I found the clips in the garden centre, then gave the clips back, the pegs back to the wife. So that was a question about using clothes pegs. So clothes pegs does work from Stuart, but the garden centre, or found these clips in the garden centre, they were better. And Turbo Stream doesn't have a greenhouse to test the theory out. Ian has the Veg Army hoodie and it's really warm. I really must get myself one of the hoodies. Really must get myself one of the hoodies. What else? Money Moose is saying you forgot the calf. I agree. And I suppose I could do with a replacement long reach hedge trimmer. Long reach hedge trimmer. Excellent. So, well, what else is going on? What else is going on? Digwell, but you are Bill and Val, not Rebecca. That name would be wrong. And Bill and Val came back with, very funny, Steve. Maybe you could make one with Bill on it. Indeed. I have seen those. I do know somebody that does do, she does it on slate and wood over in Hailsham near me. And she does have the machine that etches that into wooden stuff. I can't remember what the tool is called. Something that I thought about getting before, but I think I would get told off if I got it. But I can get those wooden boxes quite cheap and could etch it in myself or blast it in. Ian McCracken. I use old Christmas biscuit tins to keep my seeds in. That's for next week. A shredder from Turbo Stream. Shredder indeed. fact, I've got a Ryobi shredder, but that's not battery powered. I don't think a battery powered shredder would last very long at all. What else have we got? If my wife see me with a clothes bag, she would get the wrong idea. Yeah, I have to agree. I think mine would too. So keep your ideas for Christmas presents coming in. And let's have a quick run through of what we've got. So Gardener's World subscription, great idea. Long handle trowel, fantastic idea. Vouchers, also good idea. Vitopod, decent label / marker pen, but I think we've helped with that. Seed advent calendar, iTip handles, top thing for me. Chicken manure pellets, a seed box, Ryobi tools, long reach hedge trimmer, a shredder. I'm going to put veggie pod on that list as well because that was one I came up with, and the sub pod. So keep your ideas coming in. Rebecca is saying she's not sure where that box came from. It was a present, so she will ask the hubby. But we'll see what else we can find for that. So I saw something the other day that I'm looking at buying as well. It's pretty cheap, actually. And so if anybody out there heard of the company called Seedball, if you haven't, what they tend to sell like tins of, they're very little tins, and in there contains these little balls of seed, as the name suggests. Usually they do like wildflower mixes. So if you want wildflower gardens, you would buy these, scatter these balls around your garden. They're sort of comprised of clay and stuff, so they deteriorate quite nicely and protect the seeds. Well, they've came up with an edible wildflower mix, which I'm really looking at buying. I saw it on Twitter the other day. Looks, everybody knows I like my edible flowers, edible plants, and I'm trying to get everything in our garden to be edible. So I want that to go in place of our wildflower meadow. So I'm throwing that down. The Seedball edible mix. What else? The most important, Richard, and members sub to the Veg Grower Club. Yes, the Veg Grower Podcast Club. Great, isn't that great idea for that? If you do want to become a member, we are building on things all the time with that. What else have we got for Christmas? A Veg Growers mug and hoodie. Fantastic, Ian. Ian wants a Veg Growers mug and hoodie. I have to put all this Veg Grower merch, as I call it. I need some wellies for Xmas. Wellies, fantastic choice. Actually, I got some wellies from Gardener's World Live. I think when I saw Rebecca there, actually, they were £45, but I use them quite a bit, especially when I'm walking the dog now. They are so light, so light. They're almost as light as my trainers, but I do like them. I have asked for a new trunk. A new trunk. That's a great idea. A new trunk to carry stuff home in. What a brilliant idea, actually. A friend of mine gave me a trunk recently, and it's a beautiful thing. I absolutely love it to bits. Veggie bag from Stuart. So this is from Veggie Pod. And I've got one as well. They're a great way to protect any plants from birds and things if you do have that trouble. They basically comprise of the same mesh as the Veggie Pod, but they've got almost like a pot side to it, so everything is protected. I've heard of seed bomb before, which is probably the same thing. It is a seed bomb, basically. Yes. Yeah. Money boots. How about some thick horticultural fleece? Horticultural fleece is on the list. We may need it before Xmas. It certainly has got very cold at the moment, hasn't it? That's why I'm worried about my chicken, who seems to have got very cold. Bless her. But yeah, horticultural fleece. Great idea. January is generally when we get the colder weather anyway, but it does seem to have hit us hard. Say that last year we got away with it. It was pretty mild last year. Digwell is saying that was on his Christmas gift video. If anybody hasn't seen that video, do go check it out on the Digwell Green Fingers channel. Good little video with a good long list of items. Sorry, Digwell, I hope I'm still on your Christmas card list. And I prefer the old style veggie bag to the new style, obsolete now. Yeah, I think the new style has got like a wicking system or something inbuilt in it, hasn't it? But I haven't tried the new style out. I've got the old style, but I will be trying out the new style this year, I think. Yeah, that's why veggie bag is going on my list. An electric bike to ride to and from the allotment. Okay, I will pop that on with a question mark because slightly loose thing for that. Slightly loosely connected to gardening. A solar light for the garden shed. Solar light. You know, a few years ago I bought one made by Philips. It's got a nice big solar panel, 2 lights, nice and bright with a little battery that also doubles up as a charging port for the phone. Lovely piece of kit, but they don't sell them or make them anymore. Because I don't know why, because they were brilliant for the garden shed or the allotment. There are some others out there. In fact, I've got one that was quite cheap, but it's just a single bulb. Works pretty well. But if you get a Philips one, they were brilliant. Make sure you get a good lock so it doesn't get stolen at TurboStream for that electric bike. Yeah, very true. Of course you are. Sorry. I also would like some headphones for the greenhouse so I can listen to the podcast in there. Do you need headphones in the greenhouse? I just have my podcasts blasting out in the greenhouse regardless. It's not like it's going to disturb anybody else. However, headphones, I'll add that to the list as well, because a lot of people do use headphones on the allotment as well. I know that. Excuse me. I admit the bike is pushing the envelope, but one can dream. And Adrian is saying hello to Money Boots. So yeah, lots of good dreaming coming on. I'm trying to remember if I've got any more videos. I do have another video. We'll save that for a little bit later on, actually. But keep your Christmas gift ideas coming. Ideas you would like to find underneath your Christmas tree. I started off with the higher value items, but as we've gone on, I think we're moving quite nicely into some really good lists of things that are of all price ranges. Of course, I always say, you know, buy the best you can afford. Top of the list is always what we say with that. Excuse me. Now, something that I'm surprised nobody has mentioned yet, or something that I'm adding to my list, is I'd like another apple tree. My apple tree that I have at home unfortunately died, and I want to replace it with a new apple tree. So that'd be great to find under. We're not having a Christmas tree this year anyway, but it'd be great to find an apple tree underneath the Christmas tree. What's TurboStream? A radio with a built-in podcast app to listen to the Veg Grower podcast on the plot. It's called a mobile phone. A mobile phone does that. Thermal gardening gloves are a must. Yeah, thermal gardening gloves. Actually, I'm going to say any good gardening gloves, because the thermals are great during the winter months, but then how often do we really get that really cold weather? In March time, I generally don't find I need much in the way of gloves, so I resort back to these ones I have here with the leather inserts that are quite nice. So do we want to have a look at some of the photos that I've received throughout this week? Hopefully I've changed things up, so hopefully this is gonna work quite nicely. Let's put this on full screen. Oh no, let me go back to the beginning. Sorry. So, photos from the audience. So I'm changing things up again. So Stephen entices us to send this a picture in, and he says his plan was to tidy up the sprouts and light a fire to burn bits of rubbish collected over the year. He ended up raking leaves and added them to the compost bin. He's also, as you can see, there's lots of leaves all over the place on his allotment. I haven't been there. It's right by some really big trees at the top of his allotment as well, so I'm not surprised there's lots of leaves. But leaves are very good, as you heard on the podcast this week. Stuart Jackson, I mentioned earlier, he's been potting on peas and broad beans, and all he's got to do now is harden them off and pot them outside of the greenhouse. Some great looking peas, I've got to say, actually. They do look in fantastic condition and seem to be growing quite nicely. And here's his broad beans, also looking really good with some good signs of growth. Another one of his broad beans, that is, again, still looking really good. And these carrots, this is the second photo Stuart shared with us, asking, will he need to pot these carrots in my greenhouse, or will they be okay outside? And I'm going to say you're probably going to need to harvest them soon anyway. I'll pot them in a greenhouse just to be on the safe side. But you're going to need to harvest them soon. They're not going to keep going. They are biannual, so they're going to go to flower soon anyway. But yeah, get them in a greenhouse. You might be able to make them last another couple of weeks. Now, Rebecca has shared some pictures from her garden this week, this snow-covered scene. Her beautiful garden, which, normally I say snow looks great in a garden, but it doesn't. I remember Rebecca's garden looks absolutely stunning all the time. And covered in this snow just doesn't quite, in my opinion, it hides the magic of her garden. There we go. That is the photos that I've received this week. If you do want to send in some photos, you can post them in our Facebook group, or you can send them to me via email, richard@adventuregrowerpodcast.co.uk, or you can contact me on social media and send them to me that way. So going on up, where did we last? Where did we go? So Rebecca, changing the subject slightly, but did you all see The Wild Gardener? I now want a willow tree for Christmas. Amazing for wildlife. I'm going to pop willow tree down there. I haven't seen The Wild Gardener, though. Is it a TV program or YouTube? Sorry, I don't watch much TV to the point where I actually get rid of our TV. I've just got rid of my willow tree because it was a bit too big for our garden and didn't quite do anything for me. But it is, we did get a lot of wildlife in it. We used to get birds nesting in it all the time. Bill and Val's allotment has been hinted at a solar power system for the allotment. Solar power system. Is this so you can have some electricity on your allotment? Let's know, Bill and Val. By the way, Bill and Val are both on my allotment site, so I know why if they want electricity on their allotments, because we don't have electricity ran to our allotments. Don't know if anybody does really, but yeah. Pear tree for Christmas from Graham Arnold. So yeah, pear tree and apple tree. Richard, what variety apple do you want? Come up sometime. We can get you to the fruit tree nursery. Ian, I meant to message you this week, but I've been with this chesty cough I've had. Didn't want to do it until I knew what was going on. I will message you this week and see what we can do. I can drop all the hints, but get the same every year. Bottle of aftershave packet of white wife fronts. White cotton socks. If anyone wants a wife's number to give a hint, you're more than welcome to. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't get that from my wife, to be honest. So she generally asks me what I want, and I tell her nothing, and then she ends up finding something that I thought I never wanted. Can I order some good growing weather? Good growing weather. we'll put that on the list because I think we could all do with it. Saying that, I think every year we say it's been a difficult year. I certainly feel that 2021 has been a bit of a disaster, but that combined with the weather and everything else going on, 2022 is going to be a better year. That's all I can say. The Wild Gardener is TV. It's a must watch. I think you would love it. I'll check it out. Is it on BBC, ITV, or any of the other channels? I will check it out and see if it's. Let's see what I think. And a partridge to go in it. Partridge in a pear tree. Aha! Didn't think of that. Billivell is saying only if you cook the partridge. Everyone knows that Steve's cooking is fantastic. I'm hoping when we have our meetup, I've got a few ideas, he might bring along some cooking. Oh, cool. Odds allotment. 40 years married, Richard, and you will be in my boat. 40 years. Ooh. So I can say that she's not watching tonight. Add a couple of blueberry bushes. Blueberry bushes. Good choice. I was talking to somebody about blueberry bushes the other day, funnily enough, who seemed to be struggling with them. But I love blueberry bushes. We've got quite a few of them now. I have a massive willow tree on the edge of a pond. I would like it to be rid of it if I can cut trees with a chainsaw, but this will need a tree surgeons near a road and telephone wires. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I got rid of my willow tree and I'm quite happy for it to go. I was on BBC Two, that programme. Fantastic. That's why I can check that out on iPlayer then. So let's run through this list of Christmas gifts that we have so far. Gardener's World subscription. Long-handled trowel, a voucher, a Vitapod, a decent label and marker, a seed advent calendar, iTip handles, chicken manure pellets, seed box, Ryobi tools, long reach handle, a garden shredder, a veggie pod, a sub pod, the seed ball edible flour mix, veg grower merch and veg grower subscription, wellies, a new trug, a veggie bag, horticultural fleece, an electric bike which is loosely in there, solar lights, headphones, a fruit tree, be it apple or pear, thermal gardening gloves / normal gardening gloves, willow tree, solar power system, good growing. What did I put there? Good growing. I can't read my handwriting. Blueberry bushes. But what have I missed there? Good growing. Oh, good weather. Sorry, good growing weather. That's what I was missing. Okay, so on the subject of blueberry bushes, Ballycillian is asking when is the best time to prune blueberry bushes. Now, if the leaves are off the bush itself, it's the best time. I always wait till they go dormant and just cut off any dead, diseased or branches that I don't want them to be where they are. So yeah, that's what I would say. You do it now. A good sharp knife from a Pignol. I agree with that. Sharp knife, a Pignol, or Hori knife, which have I got that hanging? No, I haven't got it hanging up. It's in my van. Hori knife, which is one of my favourite gardening tools. I've got to say, it's so useful. But Pignol, a nice, good, sharp knife as well. 7 weeks of not drinking now, Adrian. Well done, very well done. Fantastic to hear. Digwell was saying that list is him sorted. What does everyone else want? I agree. What number opinion would you recommend, Nigel? Yeah, there's the opinion come in different numbers, which relate to the different sizes or different uses. So what I say, I've got a number 3. I've got several number 3s actually, because I find them to be pretty good. But you've got to go and see what's good for you, really. Well done, Adrian from Oracle. Veg Grow Army is behind you. Absolutely. Well done, Adrian. Yeah, very well done, Adrian. Rebecca is saying she would like a wildlife camera. I think you can buy them for £40 and see what's going on. Wildlife camera. That's a great tool, actually. I've got one myself. I think they're about £40 from Amazon. I set it up out there and I caught the fox in my garden. A little baby fox it was. A fantastic, say, really good picture from it as well. But yeah, a definite thing. A wildlife camera is a great thing. A pruning cutting book. Pruning cutting book. Good idea. See, this is what I love. The juices are flowing. People are getting the ideas coming from that. I can supply a lot of willow cuttings, but do not know when to take them. I would say now is probably the best time to take any cuttings while they are dormant. Muddy Boots has 8 and 10. Number of the opinion, numbers 8 and 10. But again, there's quite a few out there. Well done, Adrian. Indeed, well done, Adrian. Great. They were leafless today and branches grown in all directions. I will prune them next Sunday. Thanks. You are welcome. Very welcome. Adrian is saying thank you all. It's not a problem. Please do keep in touch and keep us updated with how you're getting on, Adrian. We're all behind you with this. Gardening journal logbook always makes a good Christmas lift. Gardening journal or logbook. I've not found a good one in recent years, in my opinion. I've bought so many over the years thinking they're going to be good, and I never end up using them. I did try designing my own ones at one point, but yeah, I designed my own one. The trouble is I'm fussy because I want, if I have a gardening journal or a gardening logbook, I want it to be in waterproof paper so it will last out in the allotment. And most of them are just standard paper, which gets wet and deteriorates. I want it to be waterproof paper, which is more expensive, but I would happily pay more money for that. Turbo Stream, I do need some strimmer cord. There we go. Good idea. Great idea. Willow is best. It's the best time to take cuttings of willow and plant over winter. There you go. Have a look at, this is for Rebecca, 8mm H55 films in extreme low light and no infrared glow shows from the camera. Fantastic. There you go. 8mm H55. I can't remember who mine is made by. Mine was just a cheap one, to be honest, but I'm very happy with it. It's not perfect. Does get, especially when it gets early morning, you get like a mist on it. But I'm happy with mine. I use a spiral bound notebook and use as a gardening diary. Yeah, I've got a spiral bound notebook from made from waterproof material. Although, to be honest, I use my whiteboards now more than anything when I'm taking notes on the allotment. With willow cuttings, you only need to cut them and push them in the ground, and it grows so easy. Good on you, Adrian. I just use a spreadsheet. It has everything on it from the last 3 years. You know what? I'm liking the sound of this. What have we got? I'm just looking through the list of what shows we've got, because I think together we're all going to have to design the ideal gardening journal to come up with something like that. Rebecca says thank you to Money Boots. Fantastic. This is great list that we've got coming up today, and a lot of ideas that are coming out of the woodwork that I didn't think we would come through. On that subject of wildlife camera, buy the best one you can afford. I have 2 and they are running most weeks. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with buying the best you can afford. I find it amazing what comes into my garden overnight when I'm not around. We've had foxes, we've had squirrels, we've had cats. mice and hedgehogs. I haven't seen any badgers, but I think if I had it down in allotment, I'd probably get more things like that, badgers and things like that. I always forgot to write things down, so a diary would be useful. I take photos instead to look back on the year on the plot. Yeah, exactly right. Brilliant idea. Let's all design one together. We're going to do that. I'm going to add that to the list. Design a journal. Design a journal. We'll do that. That's probably going to be in not until realistically the new year, I don't think, looking at the list. So yeah, next week we're doing about seed storage. We've got the Christmas quiz on Boxing Day, which I'm going to be contacting a few people about. Actually, we've got the questions all figured out. And we'll go from there. Making a gardening journal would be a great podcast. Absolutely. I'm going to look at the plan and see where we can fit this in, because I really like this idea. Jen's Allotment and Gardeners joined. Good evening to you. Hope you are well. I'm old-fashioned and would like any gardening DVDs. How about a veg growers one? I'll be honest. I love making videos. I just don't have the time to always edit the videos, which is why I don't always make them. I mean, the podcast is my main thing because I'm more of an audio person. I don't really watch videos at that much, so that's why there's no gardening DVDs. But there's something I could put in the pipeline. Let's put that. But I'll put that on the list. Gardening DVDs on the Christmas list, because I'm sure there are quite a few out there. Perhaps even Nigel Muddy Boots or Digwell or anybody else with the YouTube channel out there could start making these DVDs and things. Just an idea. We had to go to Mum's today to take down her arch, which fell into her favourite Acer. All good luck. Came home having bagged a greenhouse from her neighbour. There you go. Every silver cloud has a lining. Fantastic to see. Excuse me. I'm just looking at the. I've got this. I'm floating my own boat here, but I'm looking at the image on my screen of tonight's show, and I'm actually really quite liking the changes I've made. Apart from the audio, which we've sorted out, I think the picture is looking pretty damn crisp. What are we talking about? Maybe bring back the cost of what you harvest. We're talking about Christmas gift ideas that gardeners might like to find underneath their Christmas tree this year. The cost of what you harvest, yeah, I will bring that back. I keep saying I'm going to bring it back, but it's time again, especially with a puppy, if that's what we are talking about. No, we're coming up with Christmas gift ideas. Now, something that nobody has really mentioned, something that I always like to do as well throughout the year is make some things like jams and jellies to give away as Christmas presents. And they always do go down well. Yesterday, with the bad weather, I figured I would make some chili jam. I've been promising this for a while. I'll show you how it goes.
Well, today I'm spent the day in the kitchen making chili jam. The weather outside is just absolutely horrible with this storm that's coming through over the UK overnight. So confine myself to the kitchen. The garden can wait. Chili jam, one of my favourite things to make. It always goes down so well, and it goes great with things like cheese. Fantastic on cheese on toast. So I've gathered all the ingredients together and prepared them by like the peppers. I've de-seeded the peppers and cut them up into little bits, peeled the ginger and got the garlic so that they're peeled. I threw all the dry ingredients into a liquidizer and just added a bit of red wine vinegar and the chopped tomatoes just to add a bit of liquid, and then started to liquidize and blend together all the ingredients. I did this in a couple of batches, or added to the batch as it went along, just to, well, it needs quite a bit, but it's very, very easy. Once all the ingredients are all blended into a nice little puree, I've poured it into my big pan, into which I've added the rest of the red wine vinegar and the sugar. And then I've brought it to a boil, turned the heat down and left it to cook for about an hour. By which point it starts looking like a bit of a bubbling lava. I have to admit, I did check on it every now and then and just give it a little stir just to stop it from catching, but it doesn't take much. Once it looks like this sort of bubbling lava, I knew it was ready to go. So into sterilised jars, and that is ready to go. Can't wait for them to cool down and I can start using them. Looking forward to cheese on toast, absolutely. So great stuff. Well, that's what I've been up to today. We're trying to make use of this time in this horrible weather.
So there we go, chili jam as promised. Now, I love this stuff. I make it every year. I filled up 5 little jars of it, which are indoors, but I used what I had left in the pan just to scrape off. And I've got some poppadoms right here. Poppadom right here just to give it a try. And as you can see, it's really nice and thick and well. Hang on. The poppadom's broken in it. But yeah, it's really nice and thick and jammy, which is just delicious. There we go. Got it done. And now the taste test. I know this tastes good, but I've got to do it for you guys. Yeah, absolutely delicious. Yeah, really tasty. Love that chili jam. Use whatever chilies you want and how many you want. I added 5 and I used some medium to quite powerful ones because I like a bit of a kick to it. But if you don't like it so hot, don't add as many chilies or use a milder chili. Just experiment with it. It's so tasty. It is absolutely delicious. Steve has said, for under the Christmas tree, how about a decent set of small flasks? Always good to have a cup of tea and coffee on the plot. Yes, small flasks. Great idea. Stuart saying unusual seeds. I do like unusual seeds. I think that's a great idea. Another thing that would be great under the list. I tip rotating ergonomic safety handles. Hello to you guys. Funny enough, by the way, you are making me feel hungry. I'm pleased to make you feel hungry. I mentioned iTip handles earlier on. They are on this Christmas list already. So look, fantastic to see you join in. Digwell, that looks great. Gonna try that one. Please do try it. It's so easy, but so delicious. That's an interesting looking Mike Rich fab recipe. Now I have a greenhouse. Once it's set up, I look forward to growing chilies. Grow chilies regardless. Grow lots of them is my advice. Lovely idea of chili jam. You should put these recipes on the website. Yeah, this recipe will actually be on the website in a few days' time. I always try and be careful because it's not like I can take credit for the recipe. I just borrowed it from someone else and adapted it. TurboStream, I have an insulated mug for making coffee on the plot. I think we've got the Christmas Veg Grower podcast mug, which won't be out till the 1st of December, which also has the mug, insulated mug as well. All my mouth's watering. It is so delicious. It's one of my favourite things. The only jam I don't like is traffic jam. I agree. I don't like traffic jam either. TurboStream, and a small camping stove and kettle to the list. Camping stove and kettle. Camping stove and kettle. That's a great idea to add to this list. Supplies of coffee and tea. Funny enough, yeah, that's We're not actually allowed gas on our allotment, although I don't know how they would know, to be honest. I prefer to be able to boil water than take a flask of coffee, in my opinion. But that's why I do it all the time. Thanks. Good to be here. Great ideas. Yeah, you're welcome, iTip. Stuart, let's just give me an idea. Why don't we all grow a wild card packet of seeds and share them summer? That's not a bad idea, Rebecca. We'll have to have an email conversation and come up with something about that. That's a good idea. We'll do that in the new year. As long as you link to the recipe and say you've added to the recipe and what the changes are, you can't go wrong. I know. I always try and be, what's the word? I always try and remember that. I mean, there's probably something to be said that any recipe can be, well, there's no really original recipe. I mean, lasagna, how different can you go with something like lasagna, really? Everything's probably been tried and tested with it. But yeah, I got this recipe from someone else and it is delicious. Right, and on that note, I'm going to eat a little bit more of it because it's just looking at it, my mouth is watering. And, well, I love it. Yeah, lovely. So has anybody else got any more ideas of what they would want to find underneath their Christmas tree for use on their gardens or use on their allotments? Keep it going. Water stays hotter in the flask if it's just boiling water. Add the coffee at the plot. It does work. I don't doubt it does work. I guess I just prefer boiling a kettle for some reason. Are you allowed to burn garden rubbish on your allotment? No, we're not allowed anymore. We used to, but we're not allowed to anymore, unfortunately. Excuse me. Jen's allotment garden. I have a question that's not related to the show. Is it okay to ask? Absolutely, it's okay to ask. The running subject is only the running subject. We can always go off and answer other questions. We've got about 15 minutes left of tonight's show as well, so keep them coming. Looks yummy. It is delicious, and like I say, it's one of my favourite. What I like to do with it is get a piece of toast, spread that chili jam on the toast, then layer over it with some cheese, stick that under the grill so the cheese melts, and you get this beautiful chili jam. In fact, thinking about it, Welsh rarebit, or Welsh rabbit, however it's pronounced, might even be better with that chili jam. Oh, yeah. I'd like the Kelly kettle for making tea, coffee at the plot. Yeah, again, a Kelly kettle is great. You have a little fire inside. We're just not allowed to have fires on our allotment, which is annoying. All you have to do to stay unique is change one ingredient, e.g. 401 grams of chilies instead of 400 grams. Yeah, I know. I'm still trying to be respectful of the original person or who I got the recipe from, who probably hasn't got their recipe from somebody else anyway. But it's just me trying to be respectful, I guess. One only like freshly drawn and boiling water on the plot. That's definitely me. So Jen's asking, peas, what do you do with them when you harvest? Do you freeze or eat straight away or use them when you get home? I'm finding the peas I grow have a harder texture than frozen from the supermarket. So if they've got a harder texture, it probably sounds like you'll harvest them a little bit too late. You want to get them when they're young. So the best time to really harvest them is when you can just start to feel the peas. You don't want them bulbing out that you can see the peas bulging. You want them before that. And then you want to, if you're going to eat them straight away, you want to eat them or get them in a pan within an hour. But if you're going to freeze them, get them frozen within an hour, just so they stay sweet. But that harder texture is just that they've not been harvested young enough. You've just let them go a little bit too young, too old, and they've started to go to seed. Not seriously, they're just slightly. I know it's also peas can be very tricky to get right and harvested right. Also, Welsh rarebit is the right pronunciation. Thank you. I knew somebody out there would correct me, but yeah. My nose is starting to block up now. In meadows, peas only last until the grandkids get here. Yeah, I know you have. I know you grow lots of peas, Ian, and the grandkids eat them before you do. Harvested too late, as Richard says. Blanch them, then freeze them. I've never blanched my peas, in all honesty. I get them straight in the freezer. I know we should, but I find they're not in the freezer for long enough to warrant blanching them. But probably should blanch them, to be fair. If the peas get to the house, I freeze them, but most of them don't get to the house. Most people say that. Possibly parboiled peas before freezing. Okay, I'm obviously doing something wrong here. Okay, I always waited until the pods are proper full. So that's where I'm going wrong. Nothing wrong with a taste, just harder. Yeah, when they're proper full, they've started to get a bit too old, a bit too hard. So just get them a little bit earlier. Pick them regularly as well. Check on them regularly. The more you pick, the more you get. Also, could be the wrong variety. Jen may be growing marrow fats. I don't know what variety she is talking about, but it's possible. The right variety does make a difference as well. Muddy Boots saved me during lockdown by sending me some to plant. Thanks again. What a great guy. Yeah, he is a fantastic guy, young Nigel. Normally when I ring him, I'm on the phone for about an hour. We chat forever. Oh, coffee's gone cold. It's so cold out here today. Mushy peas then with a side serving of fish and chips. Lovely mushy peas. I put everything in the freezer without blanching. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. We should blanch them more. Sometimes I do, but mostly it's straight in the freezer. Blanching keeps the frozen peas bright green, which is very true. Do you ever freeze your Brussels sprouts? As I have done so, but they don't taste as nice. Should I have blanched them? Yeah, we do freeze our Brussels sprouts. Again, we'd find they're not in the freezer for that long, but we do blanch them. But you should blanch them, yes. I'm going to say blanching them makes all the difference. My peas go straight into the freezer, so they're not in the freezer long. And turbo stream, but I don't blanch either. Now, blanching is quite important actually to retain some of the colour and just kill off the plant to stop it from growing anyway. Often these peas and things like that, they're still growing, which involves a lot more energy. So you blanch them just to kill them off. Jen is saying she's grown Carter's Battleship Heritage variety and Alderman. Well, Alderman are a main crop variety. I'm not sure on Carter's Battleship Heritage variety, but Alderman definitely, if you let them just go a little bit, if you let them go and don't get them early enough, they do go hard. Oh God, the hiccups have started now. I meant blanching, not parboiling. Same sort of thing. I froze my sprouts last year. I failed crop this year. Yeah. My Brussels sprouts aren't brilliant this year, in all honesty. My fault. The potatoes overshadowed them in the Christmas dinner bed. But that's the joys of this life, isn't it? The joys of grow your own. Some years you get good years. Other years you get bad years. And all we can say is that we learn from the bad years. And we hope to improve. In fact, I would go as far to say that the good years, when everything works, are worse because you don't learn anything. The bad years are the ones that I really like because that's when I really start to learn what my garden needs, what my allotment needs, and where things can be improved from. Apparently, Carter's Battleship Heritage variety are gorgeous. Is this one of the Welsh heritage varieties you were growing this year, Jen? That's probably why I haven't heard them. Hopefully my Colettes will rescue the situation instead. Yeah, Colettes are an interesting one, a cross between kale and and sprouts. And they're interesting, very interesting. I've not heard many people talk about some brilliant things on that, but I like them. I quite like them. Right, we've got about 10 minutes to go. If you do want to call in, 07307 135 174, or you can zap yourself in. Hang on. Zap yourself in on the link going up in the comments right now. Now, carrying on. Excuse me. Just check the phone is on. It is on. So let's run through this list of what we would have got for anybody would like under their Christmas tree. So subscription to Gardener's World, a long handle trowel, a voucher, a Vitapod, a decent label, seed advent calendar, iTip handle, chicken manure pellets, seed box, Miami tools, long reach hedge trimmer, a shredder, a veggie pod, a sub pod, a seed ball edible mix, Veg Grower podcast merch and subscription, wellies, a new trug, a veggie bag, horticultural fleece, electric bike, which is loosely in there, a solar light, headphones, a fruit tree, thermal gardening gloves or gloves, willow tree, a solar power system, a good growing weather, a blueberry bush, a sharp knife such as an opinion or a hori knife, wildlife camera, a pruning or cutting book, strimmer cord, gardening DVDs, small flask, unusual seeds, and camping stove. So that's our list that we've got, which will be mentioned on the podcast in the not too distant future. Right, quickly. Has anyone tried growing sea kale? I'm looking to grow some more perennials this year. I haven't tried sea kale because it grows quite close to me. But what I can tell you, what you need to do with sea kale is you want some quite sandy soil. It's quite a free draining plant. But also you need to water it with a bit of salt. It needs salt water because it is a coastal plant. So what I would do is grow it in a plot in a pot of multi-purpose compost with quite a bit of sand mixed through it too. I believe you can grow it from seed. I don't think you can buy the plants, but try from seed. Again, I'm not any experience, but get them in that pot and then just water it. Have a dedicated watering can. You just add a bit of salt and a bit of water to it. Or if you live near the coast, go get some seawater and use that. If anybody else has any information about growing sea kale, let us know. So Jenny's saying, no, not Welsh, but from Heritage Seed Library. Happy to send you some to try. I had loads of saved seed left over. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to give that a try. They sound delicious. Send us an email at some point. You are correct about failures. Next year, I know not to sow and plant too early. Lesson learned. I agree. The best tip you gave me, Richard, was a garden-focused website printed off a sowing calendar local to Birmingham for next year. Thank you so much. Added it to the list. A garden-focused website is really useful because they adjust everything to your area. The only thing is they can't predict the weather, so you've got to also look at the weather and see what's going on around you. Will Santa have room for all that on his sleigh? It's a good question. Will Santa have that for all that on the sleigh? Good question indeed. It sounded like the conveyor belt on the sale of a century. Great list. It certainly did sound like a long list, didn't it? And just needed the music to go through. But that's a good list. It's a good list. I'm very, very happy to read out. So we've got a few minutes left to go before the end of the show. I think it's been a good show. It's been great to hear all this list and this feedback. Really interesting thing. I will give this a mention on the podcast tomorrow and a few ideas and things. We are coming into December, so it feels like it's appropriate to start talking about Christmas gift ideas. Digwell's just said there's no cuddly toy at the end of that, but we had a cuddly toy just for Digwell. Yeah, so I'll read out that list and add links to the blog post on tomorrow's podcast, our audio podcast. That is the main podcast tomorrow. So yeah, thank you for helping me compile this list. Also on the podcast tomorrow, we've got a few lists of seeds that we can sow throughout December and tasks that we can do throughout December. Hopefully we're going to get a video out this week as well. Everything goes to plan. And yeah, I think that just about sums up everything for this week. Fingers crossed, little Poppadom, my little chicken, is okay after a little illness or whatever's going on with her. Rebecca was saying, I told my family I didn't want anything for Xmas. I've now changed my mind. I went for the same thing. I did the same thing. I now know several things that I want for that. Excuse me. Yeah, so thanks so much for joining me, and thanks so much for sharing these ideas. Great job, Richard from iTip. No, thank you for joining in. Lovely to see you. Hargrave Gas, thanks for the suggestion. We'll be adding loads to my Christmas list now. Have a great week, everyone. Digwell, I told my missus she was getting diamonds for Christmas. Wow, you're pushing the boat out there, Digwell. Or is there going to be a follow-up to this and something a little bit on the funny side? I have a sneaking feeling. Laura W, thanks, Richard. Have a great week, everyone. You are welcome. And I will look into growing sea cow a bit more for you and let you know next week how much more I found out about growing sea cow. Thanks again for another great live from Stuart. You are welcome, buddy. See you all next week, everyone. Where's the time gone from Ballycillian? It's enjoyed the show. It's been a good fun. Next week, I'm going to be talking about seed storage. So, like Rebecca sent in that beautiful video earlier of how she stores her seed. If anybody else has any other methods or ways that they store seeds, then please do send them in throughout this week, either in pictures or videos, just like Rebecca has done. That'd be great. Michael saying, take care all. What else have we got? Digwell, you know it's going to be a follow-up. She said she would like nothing better, so I brought nothing. Yeah, there's always one. Usually it's Ian that comes out with the cheesy jokes, but Digwell's jumping in as well. Great show, everyone. Great show from Anna. Chisel, stay well. Beatrice, thanks, everyone. Great suggestions. No, thank you. It's been fantastic to see you all. And we'll be back again next Sunday at 6 p.m. to do it all again. So until then, please take care and stay safe.